Have you ever told yourself that you don't have enough time in the day to practice? I bet you have. But even more commonly, I bet you've also noticed that maybe you could squeeze in 5 or 10 minutes here and there, but decided that that was not enough time to make any lasting progress. That is actually the subject of this video. We're going to take a look at what you can do if you have only 5 minutes. You can even make progress in 5 minutes if you do it the right way. So let's take a look at what I mean. If you only have a few minutes to practice, think about a song that you've been working on or something in a song that's been giving you some issues. Let's say you're working on the song and there was a chord that was giving you a bit of trouble. And let's say it was this version of an F chord. All right, so we have an F, C, we have the octave F here, and then in the bass we'll put the A. Really cool sounding voicing. Let's say whatever song you were working on has this voicing for F, and you weren't immediately comfortable with it. Well, right there, you could spend 5 minutes just working on that chord. If that chord is going to make the biggest difference in your ability to play that song, in other words, if that's the roadblock that you're experiencing, look what you can do in 5 minutes. What I would recommend when it comes to chords that are not familiar to you yet is I would do the method where you form the chord, strum it, and then put your hand on your knee. I've talked about this in another video. Form, strum, drop. Keep doing this for 5 minutes. When you reform the chord, you are telling your brain over and over, I want this. I want this, right? If you only do it once or twice and then fidget around and, try to improve it that way, keep in mind, how many times did you actually form that chord? It's about repetition. So if you think about it, how many times could you form that one chord in 5 minutes? Probably quite a lot. Probably more than you think you could. So was that 5 minutes a waste? Absolutely not. If you were able to get that much closer to nailing that chord, then you got that much closer to nailing your song. Let's take another look at something else. Let's say it was a lick. Let's say you're working on something. Say something like that. And as you're working on it, you realize that the trouble was the shift that would happen. Right? And every time you would go to do the shift, you would run into an issue. What I would do there is, if you got only 5 minutes, why don't we get right to the problem area? Let's play the first part of that lick and then stop on the shift. Instead of playing the whole thing for 5 minutes, you're really only touching upon the problem area a couple of times if you do that. Why don't we get right to it? Because if you can nail that one, you're going to be fine for this one. That one's actually easier, and that's it. Those are all the shifts. So you could even get more granular with that one, actually. If I really were to focus on it more, I could strip away the first few notes and really just do this. This part wasn't the problem. It was literally getting from the pull-off to that note. If that was the area of concern, make it the smallest chunk that you can and then loop that. How many times can you loop 3 notes in 5 minutes? A lot. How many repetitions will that add up to later? A lot. Imagine if you did that 5 minutes a day. You would soon be absolutely ripping that whole part. Right? The rest of the phrase will probably fall right out. So that should illustrate the value of a short amount of time actually being valuable. A lot of people, I think, myself included, I'm guilty of it, will hope to squeeze in 2 or 3 hours or whatever it is for practice. And really, when it comes down to it, unless you're absolutely focused for that amount of time, you're not really practicing for that length of time. And that's the hardest thing because it's mentally draining to be focused for that long. So 5 minutes is actually, it sounds ridiculous, but is actually, you can be, if you're super focused and concentrated, you can get more from that than you would from thinking, oh, I got an hour, let's just kind of warm up and ease into it, and then I'll focus on it for a bit, and then I'm going to noodle, right? Which is what a lot of people do. So check out some of these ideas. I would be very curious to see how you deal with short amounts of time of practice, and or if you deal with them at all. If you're the type to dismiss having only a few minutes a day and deem it to be not worth it, I would be curious to hear about that too. So anyway, hit me up in the comments, let me know how it goes, and I'll catch you in the next one.